Hello, I'm TAP-G.
And I'm SurferClock.
And we're What's the Attraction? Where our work is your vacation.
When Marvel was bought out by Disney in 2009, it put the theme park world in a tizzy. With Marvel already established over at Universal's Islands of Adventure, what would become of it? Would they ship it over to Disney? Would they have to shut it down? What did it even mean?
To clarify, unless Disney forks over Scrooge McDuck's money bin and additional subsidiaries from various enterprises, it ain't gonna happen. Not east of the Mississippi River, and not using any characters already used in I of A. Guardians of the Galaxy or Big Hero 6 at Hollywood Studios? Sure. Iron Man ride? Nope. Even Marvel-themed monorails can't ride through Epcot for fear of legal recourse.
In Universal's original plans for their second park, there were, among other things, a section dedicated to DC superheroes, complete with a Batman roller coaster. For whatever reason, Universal didn't get a hold of the Justice League, who would later sign up with Six Flags in 1998. Instead, they went with their arch-rival, Marvel. Now, at the time, Marvel was not the uber-popular pinnacle of pop culture relevance. In fact, Marvel was filing for bankruptcy in 1996 under the mismanagerial watch of Ron Perelman. As a result, Marvel was doing everything in their power to stay relevant.
As in, change it, me cap governor. I Benny in me cup but do rot nicely, what? Bless ya, Mr. Sony. Ease them rights to Spider-Man. They get going in this 20th century, folks. Here you go, rights to both the X-Men and the Fantastic Four. Ever ball with that, eh? Oh, a mighty fine donation, Mr. Universal. What might you be fancying?
In 1999, Universal's Islands of Adventure opened up, complete with Marvel's Superhero Island. Staking out its Stan Lee Jack Kirby real estate were the Hulk Coaster,
Hulk Smash!
The Amazing Adventures of Spider-Man,
My spider sense is tingling.
Dr. Doom's Fearfall,
Curse you, Reed Richards!
and Storm Force Accelatron.
Mutants assemble?
Close, Mutant Americans.
Smooth.
Anyway, the X-Men. The comic franchise that began in 1963 about mutated humans and their powers to aid humanity took off, and quickly became an allegory for civil rights in a very turbulent era for American history. Characters like Cyclops, Professor X, Beast, Wolverine, Nightcrawler, Rogue, Kitty Pryde, and Angel all demonstrated their struggles of both looking different and struggling for acceptance in a world that is reluctant at best to welcome them.
One of Professor X's longtime allies is Weather Witch Aurora Monroe, aka Storm. Since her premiere in 1975, Storm has been one of the X-Men's best known and best loved characters. Raised in Kenya, Storm, as her name implies, has the power to manipulate and control the weather on a whim, and it seems she'll need all the help she can get on the Storm Force Accelatron.
As you enter the queue, some comic book panels explain the ride's paper-thin story. The X-Men's longtime nemesis, Magneto, is on the attack. Professor X has constructed a device known as the Accelatron that will enhance her powers. Where do we guests come into the picture? Well, every power generator needs some guinea pigs to make the wheels spin, right? Congratulations, dear guests! You are officially a guinea pig.
Actually, guinea pig spines can't handle being in a wheel, so they're more like mice, rats, hamsters, or squirrels.
How do you know that?
I have a life outside What's the Attraction, you know.
You sleep on the studio couch. We don't even have a TV in here.
Crack.com, because random facts make the world go round. And I'm TAP-G, and this is TAP-G Ruins Everything.
I'm sorry I asked.
Apology accepted.
Anyway, as I was saying, the Accelatron is ready for use. Us non-mutants board the not teacups and spin around in a not mad tea party fashion to generate power for Storm to fight off Magneto. Just like in Not Magic Kingdom.
Except it's a teacup.
It's totally teacups.
No sense in pretending it's not.
And when it ends, there's no real resolution. No anguishing cry from Magneto, just it ends. No telling if Professor X's plan to juice up Storm defeats the bad guy.
Though if I were writing the show script, I would have made it so Storm's electrical power combined with Magneto's metal powers and turned him into the world's first mutant electromagnet.
But is there much more to it than that? Well, I would say both yes and no. There are distinct elements that do make it stand out a little bit from the teacups, but other than those very few things, not so much. Now, it has been scientifically proven that if you get at least 3 to 4 people in one of the Accelatron little cups, as it were, You can't actually get it going faster than you can even get the maximum speed on the teacups.
Really?
Yep. It's about an average of 3 to 4 people you need in order to get it up that fast. I gotta say, it does have a pretty rockin' soundtrack. It reminds me very much of the introduction of the X-Men cartoon from the 90s.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
But it's a little bit more generic, and it is actually an original track, so that's pretty nice for it. What do you have to say about it?
A couple of different things. For one thing, you gotta love the color scheme of yellow and purple.
Yeah, the team member costumes are actually that color as well, but it is interesting.
I think it goes with the whole layout of the color scheme of Marvel Superhero Island as a whole, which does very much to look like a comic book page, and I don't know if that works to its advantage or not.
Yellow and purple. Yeah, it is a little weird.
Yeah, I mean, at least Wolverine is yellow and blue. At least that kind of works.
Sort of, maybe.
The other thing, too, is that I'm not a fan of just how unoriginal the layout of it is overall. The type of this attraction, the populace generally knows as the teacups, which stems back all the way to Disneyland's teacups in 55. And so this just kind of feels like a lazy IP overlay. And not to mention the design in and of itself. At least you can stick something in the center and attach it. But the construct of this Accelatron just kind of looks weird. There's this big Tesla coil stemming from the ceiling that lights up, and you're spinning the teacups. And all I can think of is, how does that attach to make this power up? Then what?
Yeah, at least Professor X doesn't have to try and explain how it works, because I feel like there would just be a lot of shrugging, and it seemed like a good idea at the time.
Something like... Have you noticed that isn't Patrick Stewart?
No, it's definitely not Patrick Stewart. But, licensing...
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of those flashing lights. Even though there's no seizure warning, it's still enough to be a little I don't want to say unsettling, but a little unnerving, I guess.
It applies more so at night than it would during the day, because during the day you can barely see it. But at night, you can actually, if you're standing over by the Hulk lockers, you can actually see it actually flashing a little bit, and it does draw your eye. But other than that, I don't think it's too bad. But yeah, I think it's supposed to be like the lightning or the charging of the Accelatron or something along those lines.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about the story. Is there a story? Yeah, very minimal of one. You have to go in and power up the Accelatron to stop Magneto.
And it ends with, he's retreating! Magneto's retreating!
So is he running away?
Or defeated, or, curse you, I'll be back, or... I
guess he does have to come back just because there are other people waiting in line to power up the Accelatron to make Magneto retreat.
Well, that applies to all attractions, so we can't think too deeply about that.
This is true. There was one other thing I really wanted to talk about. You do have the comic panels that kind of explain the story and what's going on. But this may be something, and a general issue that I have with the aesthetic of Marvel Superhero Island, is that a lot of the things are cardboard cutouts. Mm-hmm. And I mean, they're very intricately painted. The details on them are gorgeous. I mean, this does bring about that comic book feel to it.
Jack Kirby would be proud.
Yes, he would. But we've received updates to other lands at Universal. We've received amazing new rides. So why is it that we cannot receive an update from Marvel Superhero Island?
Well, I think it's because it gives the land itself an overall look to make it feel like a comic book.
Yeah, but even the stuff in Toon Lagoon, none of those cartoons run 3D, but yet you can see 3D models of, Popeye and Dudley Do-Right and everything else. When you get to the attractions themselves, of course, they're still in the 2D representations, but...
It's probably a legal issue.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Now, Marvel Superhero Island did come along in 1999, which was a full 10 years before Disney had made that purchase.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I suppose you could go through a little bit of legal trouble with trying to update the land. But I do want to say one other good thing about the attraction itself. I don't think I've ever seen it with more than a 20-minute wait. Mm-hmm. And I'm talking about a 20-minute wait at the end of December.
Yeah.
When everybody is coming to the parks and it's super crazy. So, having that minimal wait time and the fact that this is an attraction that's good for kids, when Big Brother's riding the Incredible Hulk or doing the Dr. Doom's Fearfall, It's good that they have a ride that they can not only do once, but they can come back and do it, as many times as they might need.
Yes, that's a benefit.
It is a fun attraction, but as far as being distinct or different from the teacups, no, not so much. But the few differences that there are do kind of make it mature, even if just a slight little bit. So with the Storm Force Accelatron, I'm going with a 2.5 out of 5. I like that there are those differences, and that it does kind of make it stand out as a distinct attraction, but not as much of a distinct attraction as I feel it could be.
See, I agree with you on the soundtrack. It's good. I like the fact that it has a story, whereas Mad Tea Party doesn't. I like that it does have a short line, and I like that it's something that kids can do. But that's not enough for me to really give this any sort of high praise. I still feel like it's just a lazy IP overlay, and that they could do so much more with it had they put a little bit more time, effort, and thought, and definitely budget into it. So ultimately, I'm going to have to go with a 2 out of 5. A decent attraction, glad it's there, but I wish there could be something better.
All right, so that's a 2.5 out of 5 from SurferClock and a 2 out of 5 from TAP-G. Storm Force Accelatron warns those who have heart conditions, high blood pressure, back or neck pain, motion sickness, sensitivity to flashing lights, or are pregnant, are warned to skip this ride. If you've had recent surgery that could be exacerbated by this adventure, it's best to sit this one out. And, sorry Professor X, but those in wheelchairs must be able to transfer.
You must be able to grasp the bar with at least one upper extremity and independently remain upright. You need to be able to absorb sudden and dramatic movements in spinning and turning. Your legs, prosthetic or otherwise, must be able to extend to the edge of the seat or below the knee. And infants must be able to sit upright because lap sitting isn't allowed. What's next? We gonna tell Cyclops he can't wear his visor and Beast has to wear pants?
Well, service animals are permitted.
That's cold, bro. Ice cold.
It's easily the weakest ride in Marvel Superhero Island. It stands pretty pale next to Doctor Doom's Fearfall, Spider-Man, and Hulk. It's good to have an attraction for kids in this section, but the concept itself isn't really fully realized.
I'd recommend it only if the line at Magic Kingdom's Tea Party is too long, but you're Universal, so there's that. Bottom line, only ride it if you're a hardcore X-Men fan, or you want bragging rights for riding the only ride in the world named after a superheroine instead of a superhero.
Is that a fact?
Yep, and when you exit, go through the gift shop and buy all the Black Widow and Gamora merchandise available. Oh, wait!
Next to the Captain Marvel, Rogue, Agent Carter, Jessica Jones, Wasp, Invisible Woman, and Squirrel Girl merchandise, right?
Right, because the moral of the story is, we need more superheroines, because date night when you're a metahuman is awful lonely.
Well, thanks for listening, everyone. I'm SurferClock.
And I need a vat of dangerous radioactive chemicals.
And what's the attraction?
Well, our work is your vacation. Hey, Tower Girl, you doing anything later? I think I figured out a way for you to hook up with Iron Man.